Welcome back, friends, to another episode of Sit Crooked, Talk Straight, where Leanne's about to spit water out of her mouth because this is my second take of an intro, because we have funny bloopers and outtakes because we're funny and real. I'm Katie Myers.
And I'm Leanne Jameson.
And this is Sit Crooked, Talk Straight, a divinely guided healing space for women and to talk about all the things. We try not to pull punches. We do not sugarcoat. We lovingly confront different parts of the human experience, but really the female, the feminine, the woman experience in our life, in our culture, but also like what we're going to talk about today is some of our childhood like essence and bringing into like what our essence is now as adults. And I'm going to let Leanne explain this quiz that we just took. But it's super fun, and we give us a quiz and we'll do it, right? Like we love colors, elements, styles, numbers, shades of whatever, right? Like we're here for it.
Yes.
But today's episode is going to be talking about this quiz and our experience with it and how we're diving deeper and how we encourage all of you to dive deeper.
Right. Yeah, no. And I was just telling Katie, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just started this beautiful course. It's a light leader course. It's a Kundalini light leader course. And of course, it's all based upon Kundalini energy, and that's the divine feminine energy and how we can harness it and what this means and all the different elements. And that's why we call it like, what's your element, right? We talk so much about astrology, and I think that's more mainstream than this Kundalini yoga or this Kundalini energy, and looking at like all of the elements that we have. And astrology ties to it. Katie and I were talking about that of just like, well, I mean, the astrological signs go by the elements as well. So this is another quiz, and we really support. We do. Katie laughs and jokes about it, but like we will like give me all the quizzes and give me all the all the information attached to the quizzes and like what does this mean for me. And so we're huge proponents of just like learning from different quizzes or the psychological tests, but I think we've taken all of those too. And just what really resonates. So we've been diving a little bit more into more of the Eastern philosophy and the Eastern quizzes and the Eastern medicine. Not a little bit, a lot of it more into that, into energy work and what is actually happening within our body. And I see a huge movement towards this actually. And I never know if it's just like the people that I chill with, it's just like but I'm just like, this isn't mainstream. Like, what are you talking about?
Everybody doesn't know what their element is. I don't understand. Like, you're not water. What are you? Water, fire, air, earth? You don't know? Why don't you know this?
Right.
I think it's a combination. I think it's a combination of things becoming more mainstream, palatable, and less stigmatized, and people becoming more open-minded and just willing to kind of talk about things in a different way.
Yeah.
And your vibe attracts your tribe, and your vibe is absolutely one of inclusivity and holistic medicine, healing, breath work, movement, all of the like holistic lean on things.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination, but
yeah, absolutely.
We're fans.
I know.
And the alignment,
total fans.
The alignment we're going to go through. I'm going to ask Leanne to read the different elements just to kind of give you all a taste of like, oh, that sounds maybe more like me. And then we took a quiz, but it's specific to her program. And so not available to the masses, but we encourage you again for this to hopefully spark some desire for introspection and just gaining insight into who you are and acceptance. And here's the other layer, it's acceptance and love, because so many of us, so I'll use the color example. I'm a yellow, bright, energetic, creative, driven by fun and humor. And for a long time in my life, I was told that I was too much, I was too loud, I was too over the top, too extra. And I felt like it was a liability, these qualities about myself. Learning that no, I'm a fucking yellow, and like maybe
Embracing
other
it.
yellows, and it's an asset. It's who I am, and there's nothing to
Yeah.
be critical or judgmental of. It just is what it is. I have
Yes.
brown hair. I don't need to be critical of it. It just is what it is. Um,
Right.
so yeah, will you go through the elements because they all have,
Yeah.
I think we all have elements of each element. Um,
Right. Well, and
but
we can shift and morph into this, but we definitely have our physical element that's never changing,
mhm,
right? That is something that's what we're born with. And then there are these other, phases and moments in our life that we flow back and forth.
yeah.
So something I do want to plug a book if it's like Katie said. So I'm in the light leader, this is the light leader energy quiz, and you're not going to be able to find that. That is specific to my program. But about the elements, there's a slew of books that was recommended to me, and I picked up two. For the one that I want to recommend is Wood Becomes Water. And that will talk to you about all the different elements. And it's really, I mean, I just started that too, and it's just like so informative, and I love it, love it. So it's called Wood Becomes Water. And I'm trying to look and see who the author is. Hello. It's Chinese Medicine in Everyday Life by Gail Rickenstein. So I'm sure I said that wrong, but we'll
We'll
have
link
it
it
in the
in the
show
show notes.
notes. Yeah, exactly. We'll have it in the show notes. So yeah, we have these different elements that are always, moving. And I should probably stop talking as I move away from the mic. But these different elements, I wanted to grab something of just, what this actually means, and being able to find your physical essence, and then looking at like the different elements. So basically the physical element is what you're born with, depicted by physical body, who you came into this world as. It's constant, it never changes. We also have a second element that is dominant, current personal energetic expression of your energy, mind, and emotions. And then there's even a third element, which I'm waiting to see how you identify that, or how we identify that in this class. That's more about your desired element, your desired outcome that you would like, of course. So looking at this, so within the elements, of course, there's metal. And when you're looking at that, it's more of this characteristic of like you're organized, you're disciplined, you crave structure. And then it talks about like, if you receive this within your business, because it is more of a business. What do I want to say? Like a business class. I don't want to say class, like a program. But when you're metal, you have this inner reflection, and you are like systematizing processes, systems, and structures. Like that's your jam, right? So as a metal, again, organized, discipline, you crave structure. And the lesson, right? It says, as a natural reflective, you can get caught up in thinking too much in the past. So that is definitely interesting to me, because I came up as a metal currently. Um, and my lesson is learning to live a little and have more fun in the current. So that's metal. The water element is that you're creative and are a go with the flow kind of person. It might be tough for you to switch from create mode to like action mode. Naturally, you love to be by yourself, journal, tap into your heart center. And then the lesson here is learning how to schedule and like launch your offerings. It's talking about business, right, in a timely manner. So putting your action, whatever you've been creating in your mind, you have a difficult time putting it to action. So
And
that would be.
I happen to have gotten water as my current, which after Leanne read it, I was like, I feel in my head, I was like, I feel so seen and so heard. But what I said out loud was, I feel attacked. Because it resonated, right? And like, and I think that's part of like the introspection, the insight is like, okay, I can identify like this is where I am. And now how am I going to use this information to continue progressing? because
Right.
that's at least my goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's with everything, and I know that you mentioned the colors assessment that I love giving out too. Pamela Osley created this colors assessment. It's super thorough. It's like 60 some questions. And I love it. And I remember feeling like after I did that, I was like, I feel so seen. Like I get it now. I totally get it. Right. And that's what all of these assessments are for, right? Is to shed some light. We're looking for answers. What a beautiful experience to be in, as in this human experience of like, we're always craving knowledge, right? And this is just another space to expand your knowledge into. That really is, I mean, like, I believe that it's making more and more sense for more people, as we're moving away from the Western sort of philosophy and medicine into more of the Eastern philosophy and medicine. So I love that. And I love that this Brianna Rose is the creator of this course that I'm taking, this program. She's so cool. So C's, wood is another element. And with wood, it's that you're naturally hardworking, you're a leader. Woods are strong and resilient. They tend to lead the crowd. Um, you can work and work to accomplish a task and not afraid to pull an all-nighter. Your lesson is to learn when enough is enough and ask for help.
Mm.
Um,
I can
so
point to periods of time in my life where I was wood.
yeah, right. I was just thinking that I'm like, wait, did I have metal and fire? But yeah, I did. I was just like, because like wood sounds very much like, sometimes how I'm feeling. I'm like,
Wood for me was like the period of time, like the grind of corporate,
yes. Oh my gosh,
you know?
100%, right? Where it's
Yeah,
just working tirelessly, working through the night and
yeah.
like, but that there was so much conditioning in that too for me,
Well,
right?
and not being in alignment, like both conditioned self, what everybody around you expected of you, um, and then your own internal expectations based on self-worth and self-esteem and what right. At least for me, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, interesting. Wood. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was wood for most of the mid-teens.
I was just thinking of like an era of just being wood. I was like 25 to 35.
Like 2020, 2009 to 2017, 2018, whatever. It's
Oh, it is what
complicated.
it is. Um, and then we have fire. So those are the first elements that I went through is metal, water, wood. Fire is another element. And this is if you light up the room, love to laugh naturally, you magnetize people and have no problem filling a room. People just want to be in your energy. And our lessons are knowing when it's time to put out the fire and rest. So that is something that I was born as. That is my physical element. That is never changing. And I have heard that more than once of like, just rest. Like this is your time to just chill, dude. Um, and then finally, there's Earth. So with Earth, you are grounded and nurturing. You love taking care of people, holding space. As a natural healer, you attract all types of people who need your help. And it might be hard for you to take action to get outside of your comfort zone. Your lesson here is creating boundaries and knowing when it's time for you to heal. So, with all of that, again, just sort of that inner reflection, that's what we're pointing you to. And just like, how do we feel like, knowing this and like, how has this shown up in our lives? And what does this mean as far as like, what do we do? What do we do with this information and how do we utilize it? Just like you were talking, Katie, of just like, okay, well, with this knowledge, how do I want to embrace or how do I want to just like be aware? This is all I always consider it's like this is just a self-awareness journey, this whole entire physical life.
Well, and I love the non-judgment of awareness, right? Like
Mhm.
not judging something as right or wrong, good or bad, but just having awareness. and that leads to my favorite phrase of like leading with curiosity and compassion, right? Like,
Yes.
do not judge any of it, rather just get curious about it. And so like I was getting curious about the time frame when I was wood, right? Like, yeah, there was a little bit of judgment that creeped in that was kind of like, whoa, that was like really, that was a hard time, right? Like that was not, I would not go back to that. Thank God I have
Yeah.
evolved, and like I have a lot of gratitude around that period of time because it shaped so much of who I am today. And and I've been refining myself ever since, right? Like, so there's this refinement. So, but I take it back to that, the judgment, because for me, I spent my entire life judging myself as good or bad, right or wrong, this, black or white, all or nothing. And to be able to look at the elements and be like, oh my gosh, so I got fire also as my child, like my
Mm.
physical. And that tracks for me. And embracing that, and also remembering that I'm not always fire. I'm actually a lot of today I am, I probably more representative, truthfully, the assessment said it too, but water, right? And then
Yeah.
will there be times when I ebb and flow into other elements? Absolutely, because these are all parts of us, but we can get curious about them, and then that can help guide us into making different decisions moving forward. Because when I make decisions based out of judgment, rarely is it based out of love. Like, it's not,
Yeah.
there's nothing loving about it. When I
Yep.
make decisions based out of curiosity and compassion, I am driven by something that is not fear based, it's not anger based, it's not, resentful, it's not, it's just a different way of moving through the world. And so this
Mhm.
even came up in my therapy session. Um, Gosh, I mean, literally, my therapist was like, you're in this season of just kind of being. Like, there's not a lot of doing. And I'm like, but I'm really good at doing. She's like, yes, you are. You are
Yes.
very good at doing. That's why you are being given this opportunity to just be, because this is an area that you can, it's an opportunity. Get curious about it. Don't judge
Mm.
it. Just get curious about it. And so it's like, okay, I will journal more, and I am journaling. I feel like that's all I do. But I'm like, I'm writing another book, it seems, which actually may be true.
It
Um,
might be. Yep.
so, right, like the ebb and flow, and what I'm going to do with it, practical application today is I'm going to be kind to myself when I'm not,
Mm.
pumping out content, or I'm not posting content, or I'm not writing anything specifically like for the next book or whatever. I'm going to give myself time to rest,
Mm.
and just be and see what comes up. And clearly, my process today is, what's coming up is a lot of shadow work. So any of you out there who are familiar with shadow work and looking at the different parts, we are all the things. Um, we are not always all the things, but we, at different times in different parts of our lives and different times in our lives, we have capacity for all of the things. And so that will
Yes.
probably likely be a future episode of kind of, doing some parts work and doing shadow work, because when we acknowledge those parts of us and we love them and accept them, they wreak less havoc, is what I'm
Mm-hmm.
told.
Is what I'm told. You've experienced it too. It's like when we finally surrender to like, okay, this is what's happening. And I love that. We actually do have an episode on shadow work. I can't remember which one it is, but but what you're saying, and I swear we got to have your therapist on one day. Because everything she does, I'm just like, oh yes. Um, so it's being able to, right? Because I just want to be in the fire. I just want to be in that passion and like the excitement and the go and the all of that. And right now I'm metal, where I'm just like, I don't like policies and procedures. That is not what I want to do. I know.
Some
And
people love that. Some people
I
love
know.
it.
Right. Absolutely. I found that person last night because I couldn't figure out. I'm like, I know just enough like stuff to like be dangerous, like as far as just like the back end of like all of my stuff, like work and my business and stuff, with technology and all that. I'm like, something's not working. So I found somebody that knows that loves to be in the metal. And but recognizing what is coming up and like what is the lesson that I am meant to be learning right in this moment, not judging myself for it, not judging, my situation for it, fully accepting that and fully accepting all of these parts of me, and all of the elements that we all get to experience as we move through life. And what were you?
I found the episode. It's number 61. It aired originally May 22nd of 23 last year. Episode 61, Embracing Your Shadow Self.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to some of that, because we do talk about some of the darkness that leads to light. Like, let's be clear that everything that we're trying to achieve is just the best, highest, most favorite version of ourselves. And like, my favorite version of myself today is a very different person than it was a year ago today. I mean, when I reflect back on like where things were exactly 1 year ago today, my life is nothing like what it was. And I can say that with a lot of gratitude, and also a lot of healing.
Yes.
And I had to do some shadow work to get to the healing.
Right.
There's no way around it. Sorry. We just have to go through.
Well, and being able to recognize that we do have these beautiful healers around us that help us to move through all of our seasons, all of these elements, and to navigate the waters or the fire and the whatever season you're in. And so the healers that help us through that, and that we do have, these are just all tools, right? Just like what we're talking about here. This is a tool to help you navigate and to understand what's happening and how to utilize. And that book that I referenced actually does. It takes you into, how do I utilize this knowledge? How do I utilize, what my element is, and create this fulfilling life? And, I don't mean just success, but like fulfilling starting internally and externally. But how do I utilize these elements with knowledge? Just like how, astrologers like utilize that information, or like we talk about the moon phases and how we can utilize and work with the moon phases. And I mean, these are all right at our fingertips of, being able to understand ourselves better and what we've been given to move throughout all of the different seasons. And I think it's more, for me, it's like to have the awareness is to, and to have the tools and then the leader to help me navigate, is it helps to, and this is so big, relieve my suffering, but also it relieves the suffering around me. You know what I mean? Like, it's just more, it just.
Well, it's kind of like your light shining. It doesn't stop with you, like it reaches other people, and like the ripple effect of when we're doing our own work, it really does ripple outward into the greater collective, like the greater consciousness. So like, when none of us are alone in any of this.
Right.
And when we do our work, we give other people permission to do the same. And so I see that like domino effect for you. And God, we talked about it in Sedona, sitting on the top of this mountain. That some of the women were saying, like, God, can you believe that we're here? And then you were kind of off in the distance, and we were like Leanne brought us all together in this really beautiful way that like some of us would never have crossed paths. I mean, friends with women in Buffalo, like I would never be friends. Like, how would I be friends with somebody right? Like, never. And so I made the comment. I was like, y'all, like, we're doing the work. Like, you guys are showing up and doing the work and being courageous, so that you can create something maybe that's not like this, but that is similar, and that it will affect other people. And thank God my son was, thank God Leanne did the work and had the courage
Mm.
to do what she did, because that again, that ripple effect, like you are impacting sometimes small groups, sometimes massive groups by the thousands, right? Like,
Mhm.
and when we, yeah, we have to show up and do our part, period.
Oh,
Sorry, no way
yeah.
around it. Is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting as we come to more and more of this, awareness and bringing it out into like real life, right? It's like it's one thing to have the awareness, but then not to do anything with it, right? Some people choose that. It's just like, oh, okay, and they keep on their way, maybe like blaming externally or focusing externally and stuff. God knows I've been there where I was just like not ready to see any of it. But then when we do open up to that, the beauty that shines through of that reflection and just like the full embrace of who we are in all of these different dimensions. We're so multidimensional. We see so many people that I surround myself with. They're like, everybody sees in 3D. We're actually 5D, right? And that's what it talks about, like this energy, this alignment with energy, and tapping into this additional dimension. But like I think it's really important too to recognize, like when we look back, this was part of this exercise that I was doing of just like, well, like how did you feel, knowing how, let me see what the actual question was. In this recognition, it is right? What your physical element is, and then like who did you come in this world as?
Mm,
And like, being able to see that, like there's one thing of like knowing like, yeah, I'm fire. Like you think about that, I'm an Aries, of course, that's a fire sign. Like I'm filled with fire, I'm filled with like passion and like, I love being impulsive and like there I have to all sorts
always
of
in
stuff.
movement, always in action,
Always,
always in movement.
always. Right, exactly. But here's the thing is like as I was reflecting on this, I came into this, oh, so this is my actual like little like blurb. I was like, I came into this world as magnetic. People were drawn to me, though I never realized this. I was full of
Mm,
passion and compassion. I loved connecting with others. My teachers always saw this presence and potential. I was always curious and enthusiastic, but like and I'm bringing it back to like when you opened up with as a yellow, because I'm a yellow too, that's my secondary color, is that like like there were people in my life that did not appreciate that magnetism, that were afraid of it, that didn't understand it, right? That sort of, shunned it and tried to put a lid on it. And then there were other people in my life that saw it and shone a light on it and pulled me in and said like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, right? So like as you're coming to this awareness, I love like a little reflection of just like, did I even see myself that way? Did I even know? And a lot of times we don't, because the people around us can't manage it and don't understand it, right?
so true.
And it's nothing about you as a person that they can't see that. And I
Mm,
would say, even current day, right, of just like surrounded by some people that might not be able to understand or see that,
mm,
and honor it the way that we're meant to, just like you're going through your process of honoring all parts. And this does take healing. It does. And sometimes the healing is just being instead of doing, right? So
but that's what I'm learning.
yes.
Well, and that's the kind of, to bring it full circle, wrap up a little bit. Finding your tribe,
Mm, so
not
important.
not surrounding yourself with people who don't get you, but rather really surrounding yourself with people who honor and cultivate those parts of you that are so natural and so authentic and so in alignment with your spirit and your essence. And so like finding your tribe and doing that, and there are lots of different ways to do it. Leanne's online community and her Facebook group, we'll link that in the show notes. But there are absolutely opportunities, but also being vulnerable and like reaching out and creating those relationships. Um, and
Yes.
trusting when people are brought into our lives that they are done so for a reason potentially. But yeah, go find your tribe and a therapist or coach that can continue to guide you through because again, we're not meant to do this thing alone.
Right. And I would say stretch outside your limits, right? With that vulnerability. Like you mentioned, like everybody in Sedona, and there were women who, I mean, like they were so, that's uncomfortable. You're going into a space with 17 other women who, you may or may not know, like one of them only knew me. Two of them only knew me, you know, and that's a real leap in trust and faith and doing the things scared. And that's how we do find our community, right? Is like, especially, well, let me preface this as if you're looking around and you feel misunderstood and not seen and not heard, that's an indicator that it's time for you to stretch past that comfort zone and past like your current situation and put yourself in different situations, put yourself in different environments that make you feel uncomfortable, because the discomfort will help you to find your community truly that's meant for you. So that is all we hope for you, is to, connect you to help you to build that community and to know that you're seen and heard and valued for who you truly are. So again, and just, finding different, I'm sure there are different tests or like little assessments and stuff online about the elements, and there's so much information out there. I mean, Kundalini has been around, yoga, I mean, has been around for thousands of years. Same with, Kundalini. So I really encourage you, if you need any book recommendations, I have a freaking plethora of them that I got from from my coach that I'm with. And like I said, I'm starting on 2, and I'm super excited and I'm sure you're going to hear more about this because this is the journey that I'm on and I love it. So
We'll get to hear so much more about
stay
it for sure.
tuned. Yeah, stay tuned. And yeah, if you're looking for any of those book recommendations or looking for your community, please, please, please reach out to us. We will connect you in any way that we can. So yeah, this is more of a testament to just like stay curious, stay compassionate, and truly, truly allow your light to shine because it is needed in this world. You are needed in this world, and you are meant to be seen and known and heard and loved in all the ways. So that is our message to you. So always, always sending so much light and love, and we'll see you on the flip side. Mwah!